How do you define creator?
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've heard any of the podcasts,
I
but
have heard some.
basically, yeah, bro, it's just a conversation with fellow creatives, man.
I love it.
And like I was saying earlier, I've been wanting to have you on for a minute because I feel like not just in DJing, but it's not a DJ podcast. That's disclaimer.
I love that. Let's start right there.
That's what I want to make sure
Yeah.
everybody knows. But obviously, you are a DJ. That's how we met. But I feel like how I was saying earlier, kind of our career trajectory or the things that we were always interested kind of align. So I know we've had a podcast before, but it was more DJ.
Man, that was so long ago. Yeah,
it was a very long podcast as well, but it was very DJ centric. But I think this is a conversation. I mean, like I was just saying, I've been wanting to have regardless, but I feel like it would provide a lot of value, especially for the people that we know and in our circles. So, I mean, the way I like to start, especially now, is I like to ask the guests, like, how would you introduce yourself to me?
Oh man,
It could be anything. It's just
that's a crazy one, man. It's a crazy one.
it makes you think.
Yeah, because I feel like I automatically have to put myself in a box. You know what I mean? To give you like a 2-line or 1-line.
But you don't.
I know, but then we'll be here the whole podcast.
But that's the point. It's almost like an
layers.
exercise.
Right. Yeah. So many layers to it. I think now I've been more comfortable being able to just describe myself as a creative and leaving it at that. I don't know. I just it changes so much. You know what I mean? And so often, and really like, I think it goes in phases, and I get bored sometimes. You know what I mean? So I shift very often, but I think that now just introducing myself like, hey, I'm Louie Arson, and I'm a creative, and that's what I do. And when people are like, oh, creative how? Then I would say, in the avenues of music and video. And that would be where I would stay, Even though I do a little bit of graphics too, I don't really,
You don't got to stay there, bro.
Yeah, I know. But just to,
Yeah. No, and I think that's also something that we relate to, where you've always been pretty humble, even though like you're really dope at what you do.
I appreciate you, bro.
But like you're not one to like put it out there, and I feel like I'm the same, and sometimes I'm like, fuck, if I just show more shit will come. But I don't really want to, because like you just said, there's certain things where I'm like pretty confident in, and even then I won't even share it. But there's things where I'm like, nah, like I'm just dabbling in this.
But let me ask you a question, right? What is your reason? And this is me, I'm asking this question selfishly. Bro, I might be asking you a lot of questions on this.
This is what it is.
You know what I mean? But what is your reason? Do you have a reason for like not putting it out there? Like,
I think it's for sure there's layers to it. I think there's for sure like an insecurity of like what people are gonna think. That's natural human nature. I think some of it is truly I'm not there yet to put certain things out there. So I know, like, I'm aware of that I'm not at that level that I want to be personally.
Understood.
But but I've heard, there's people that see my shit and they're like, yo, that's sick. That's dope. And I'm like, probably did that in 5 minutes. That's whack. Like, I know you're crazy. But I think it's just that's how I am, that I'm not like out there. There's people that are really good at that, kind of being their own spokesperson. And that's kind of the reason I started this, where it's like, it almost just having these conversations indirectly, we're saying it,
right,
but we're just talking.
I love that.
So it's like a way of tricking myself into doing it.
Yeah.
And then also because when we talk about things like this and you put it out, it helps people.
Yes.
So instead of me saying, hey, I do this, look at this, it's like, oh, check out this clip of me and Louie talking about this.
Perfect.
And then they can see, oh, he does graphic design too, or he DJs here, and like then it kind of makes sense. And then I can show it. But yeah, I think it's also which I've talked to people before, where I didn't come up in DJing doesn't have any sort of blueprint, but like traditional creative arts, people go to school and people study these things, and like, you know, I'm in like, I've talked to people that do some of the things I do, and some of the times they use vocabulary that I'm like, what the fuck you talking about? So I think it's some of that too, where like, but I mean, really, it doesn't matter, because I mean, how many times have we seen DJs like come into like our space and we're like, bro, this guy's on a controller. So it's like we all do it.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of things, but I think doing this helps me kind of get it out there.
I can see that. That's cool. Yeah. I just, it's tough because I've been spending time asking myself that question and trying to identify if it's coming from a healthy place or not, right? If it's the insecurity, if I'm finding excuses.
That's another thing.
If I'm giving myself excuses, oh, well, I'm not there yet. Or, you know what I mean? Oh, but when I reach this, or when I'm able to do this, then you know, all of that. And so I just wanted to hear what you had to say about it. Because,
and I think that happens with everyone, but I think I definitely in the last couple of years, I have been more comfortable just not necessarily putting things out, but like letting people know, like, yo, I do this, I do that. Like, because before I definitely was like,
same here.
Hell no, like you can't, I'm only a DJ. Like, I don't want you to know my other shit. Because I thought people would think that's whack, or like you're not dedicated or whatever.
Right.
But like talking to people like you and having these guests, I'm learning that like our brains work different. Like,
that's just what it is.
I can't just DJ, bro. Which that, I mean, I came to like a fucking wall because I was just DJing, trying to do other shit.
Right.
And I had to come to the realization, like, yo, my brain is like separated. Like Junior says, like we're in like different tables of the cafeteria, and like I need to go to sit in every table, and I can't just sit in one table.
Shout out to Junior.
Yeah, great analogy. So I, you know, once I'm more comfortable with that, then I'm like, okay, yeah, like this is what I do. I do this, I do that, and not everybody has to know, but yeah, it took me a while to like get there. But definitely there's excuses too, for sure.
Yeah, no.
Because you could just put shit out and people are, you kind of know in the back of your head, yeah, it's dope.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But I mean, I know you do a lot of things, and we'll get to all that. But like, where do you think the creativity like kind of spark first came from? Like as a kid or whatever, not in any type.
Like you mean like, which one of them, or
well, yeah, like which one came first, or like was there a moment that like you're like, bro, I think I want to do like something different, not just go to school and this and that.
So it was definitely I mean the music has definitely been the first thing. I tell this story a little bit, like, you know, it's crazy. It was literally, I mean, just a couple years ago when, you know, I think we were at Thanksgiving dinner. And my mom was like, dang, man, I should have put you in music classes. And I was like, you know, I can't believe it, because they've always, you know, I'm Haitian, and, you know, the background is my parents, like I was born there. So we all moved here. It wasn't like they've, you know, set up, or we had our grandparents set up, like, you know, kind of like, it was like this first generation, like we all moved here. And so when we got here, you know, my mom and my dad have always been pushing me to do, you know, classic trade stuff, right? Doctor, you know, lawyer, whatever, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
And me and my sister have both just never, ever clicked that way. We've always been like creatives at heart. My sister went to school for fashion design, and she was just an amazing artist. And, But she was a really great student as well. So she was like, you know, my parents were always like, look at your sister, she's able to do this. Da, da, da. So, but man, it was always music for me. It was religiously music. Like every year my parents would be like, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for your birthday? And it would always be another keyboard. Like ever since I could remember, ever since I was a kid. And the other keyboard would always work properly, but I just needed more sounds. I wanted, you know, more of that stuff. So I was constantly just like seeking that. And that was definitely the first love. And I guess like the passion, or the, you know, what opened up the creative for me. It wasn't until like really it wasn't until high school, like my last year of high school, that I started to think about graphics and stuff like that, you know? I think about it every day, man. My sister, watching her grow into her artistry, and you know, she was just like, she could just all the time, her pastime was just pick up a pencil and then like sketch whatever she's looking at the moment. And just watching her develop that has really kind of like what opened my eyes, to like more creativity. You know what I mean? Like, what does it look like to be able to express what you're feeling in another form? You know what I mean? And then I would like, you know, just like watch her do the Photoshop, or even then at the time she was using paint and like hooking on paint, bro.
Right.
And then, you know, I would get into the Photoshop and all that stuff. And then like my last year of high school, I took a class where they were literally like, we're going to make t-shirts. We're going to create a design or find something that you like, and then we're going to iron press, and I'm going to show you what this looks like. And like, I was like, oh snap, I really like this. Like, this is really, really cool. And then that kind of like opened the lane up for me to do all of that.
Damn, that's crazy that in high school they had like, you don't really hear of things like that.
Bro, I mean, Coral Reef. And so it was like the art program that was, you know, it was the magnet school.
Yeah.
So, I had taken so many elective already. I didn't know what else to do. Literally last whatever. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll take this class, whatever. And that would just ended up being what opened up my eyes to like actual graphic design and visual art. Stuff.
Where do you think you and your sister like got that from? Because you said your parents were like more traditional, and I, coming from an immigrant family, like I know how it is. They're just like, put your head down, hard work, and you know, do something that makes sense. And
that I cannot tell you, bro. I have no idea. Like, there are, like, my memory is terrible. I should say that just to begin with. My memory is terrible. But there are just very key moments, little things that happen, like when, like, I've seen my dad like do a thing and I was like, dang, he's kind of creative there, you know? Or like my mom helping my sister and I with like a project in school, and then just watching her go off, and I'm like, yo, like there's something there.
Right.
Like, where did that come from? But I can't tell you like, oh, you know, well, my grandmother this, or my, you know, I don't know, bro. You know, my sister is the first person for me that, like, in my family to do visual art stuff. My father, for a while when he moved here, he had a friend of his who owned an art gallery. My dad worked there, but just doing the admin stuff. So we were kind of around the art stuff, but it wasn't enough for me to be like, oh, this is the person who led us into. No, I have no idea where any of that stuff came from. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, it's funny because I'm the same. Like, I have no idea because my family was like just, you know, typical jobs, like 9 to 5 all day, come home, eat, go to sleep. Like, they weren't expressing their creativity.
See, like, there was, after I moved here and then, you know, interacting with some of the rest of my family, I'm like, my cousin was really big, like played piano and was in bands and did all that stuff. But the love for music was already there. You know what I mean? So I would just like gravitate towards him when he would do that kind of stuff in his studio or do whatever. But the love was already there. So I don't know where it initially came from, that spark. I have no idea, you know?
Damn. And right out of high school, you already kind of knew like, all right, I'm going to kind of pursue or thinking about that, or you went down like, all right, let me at least go to school. And
well, what happened to me, this is wild, because what happened to me was in middle school, I met one of my friends and we connected over music stuff. He was the first kid I knew that had a CD burner. And he would get all the music. He was making all the mix and then getting it. So we would connect after every weekend. He'd be like, yo, this is what came out. This is what I got. And listen to this and whatever. So we all went to the same high school. But I remember the summer going into high school, there was one kid that I would see. He had all these stickers, all the promo stickers, right? It was like Biggie and MOP and just like Ja Rule, just like crazy, just stuff, right? Everything. And I'm like, yo, who's this? Like, where do you even have this? Whatever. And he was like, oh, my dad's a DJ. And he has this thing called the record pool. Like this was before
legitimate record
record pool, where he would get all the stuff in the mail. And you know, they gave me the stickers, and I just put that stuff. And that kid ended up being my first new friend in high school. And so literally from then, that's where that kind of like started just developing. I started to get more into like, oh, DJing, dang, DJing. I kind of want to DJ. This is cool. This DJing. And then I met his dad, and I was like, yo, whenever you do a gig, like, let me help you carry crates and, you know, all that stuff. And he was like, if you're serious about it, you can come to the studio when I'm not there, which is at his house. You can come and practice. I'm not going to teach you how to DJ at all. I will not teach you how to mix 2 records, but you have all this access to my records and do whatever you want to mess around and practice. Like, show me, pretty much like, you know, show me like you really are about this.
He let you use the needles and shit?
Bro, I know.
Crazy.
Yep, let me use the needles. That's crazy work. But yeah, he let me use needles. And that's the thing too. At the time, I wasn't really gravitating towards CDJs. I wanted, you know, it was vinyl then. Serato had come out, I think maybe my 3rd year in high school. Serato started to become a thing. And I was like, what, buy a computer and all this stuff? I can't afford all that. I'm going to stick to this. And then that's when CDJs was like, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Burn the CDs and then you can do that, you know? But yeah, that's how that happened, man. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah,
Kinda
no,
went all over the
but
place.
it's crazy though, because I have a similar story where it was really just a friend that he was the one that had the DJ setup. He had like the whole MIDI keyboards and like all this shit. Like he was always up to date with everything, and I would just be at his house because he was one of my good friends, and you just get that bug.
Yep.
And it's like crazy. It's like a chance encounter that then he's your friend, and then you start like developing this thing.
That's true. You know what the difference is like it sticks with some of us, and then with others it's kind of just like,
yeah, exactly. And I think some people like, I mean, I don't know your friend, but like he was always around it. So like I had to like go to my friend's house to be around it.
Right.
So I was always like, I need to go back in there. I need my own. Right, and then I
right.
finally got a set.
Yeah.
And then that's when like
Yeah,
my
that's how it
brain
worked,
my
too.
brain clicked. But yeah, even I always tell people like it's crazy on that same token, like if I didn't start DJing or want to learn how to DJ, I would have never learned all these other things because that's what kind of led me to everything. That I was like, okay, how can I expand this DJ thing? Like graphics, video editing, like this, that. And then that's what kind of like that switch went off. But you went to school though, right?
I did. I went to FIU, man.
Shout out Panthers.
The
dude.
crib, yeah, right here at the crib. So I went to FIU.
What class were you?
It took me a while to kind of. I'd rather not even. You mean like high school? I can tell you when I graduated. I will not tell you when I graduated college because that took a little bit. I literally, I would have a conversation with my mom. I'm like, yo, mom, there's this kid named Kanye West, and he's a college dropout, and I'm gonna do the same thing. That was I would tell my mom that, and my mom's like looking at me like, you're spending our hard-earned money. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're in school, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be cool, but like, music's gonna pop off, and then I'm not gonna need to do this anymore, and it's gonna be great. So it definitely took me a while to like finish college. It was like one day something clicked, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna finish college, you know. But even then, I was in school studying something that I wasn't necessarily passionate about. Which this is gonna come full circle. You're gonna be like, oh, look at how that worked out. Because I was, in the School of Communications, and my concentration was advertising, which I thought I was never gonna use ever. I was like, this is just ridiculous. I'm never gonna use this. I don't care about this, but I'm here, and it is what it is. And then and my minor was photography, which is ridiculous. I was literally looking for something to boost my GPA. I was like, what's the easiest thing I can do? And dog, this is just how that works out, you know?
That's a Louie ad group, bro. There you go.
No, that's just, I know it's ridiculous, bro.
It's crazy. I had a similar story at FIU, but I really, and maybe you took the same class that we figured out the other day, Individual and Society.
Yeah,
That
of
was
course.
like,
I remember
that class is like the only class I remember in FIU. It's one of the best. But I was like, okay, I just need to graduate college because I'm not going to do this. But I dug for like the one that allowed you the most electives. So I could boost everything.
Right. That makes sense.
Which for my story, I definitely don't use it at all. International relations.
Oh, word.
The only time I use it is having discussions about politics.
Okay, word.
Which now in 2024
has become a thing.
a little helpful, but besides that, yeah, but the electives are things that like I was able to get a certificate of photography. A film. Like I took all those courses. It was like 6 classes, and
Sick.
but it's crazy because I think a lot of people. I mean, you're 18, 19 years old going into a college to decide what you're gonna do.
How are you supposed to know, bro?
I think a lot of people have that intuition of being like, bro, let me just fucking take every class and figure it out. Which thank God, like we kind of did, and it was actually a good experience for me instead of like, oh, let me study business and just get a degree.
Just get it done, yeah.
But when do you think that like you went to school, you graduated, but when was like that kind of I don't give a fuck switch of like, all right, I'm gonna be a creative?
I never thought that I would just do any of this without having a job. It was always gonna be what I did after the 9 to 5. You know, like I had figured out that I really love music. I really love DJing. By then in college, I was like already in on it, but I just knew that it was going to be, you know, the thing I did as my hobby.
Right.
So I don't know, man. Sometimes I'm like, how did this even work out? I remember, so while I was in college, I was working at Nike, right? It was at Sunset Place. And I remember working there and loving it so much, loving the product and just, Nike culture and all that stuff. Like it wasn't just, I know the sneaker thing is a thing, but it wasn't just that for me. It was like really the culture of it. And I remember thinking like, finally, I know what I'm going to use the advertising degree for. Right? Because I was like, before like never gonna use, I was like, I'm gonna go up the ranks Nike corporate and work that, and it'll be cool. I'll do music or whatever on the side, but I'm totally good with this because I love this company so much. And then I got fired. And it was like, it was the worst day. It was the worst thing ever because it was like first time that I had decided and knew like what the path was gonna look like. And then I got fired. Thankfully, I got fired.
That same day?
No, not the same day. But like a couple.
I know what I'm
months.
gonna do now.
Yeah, like yes. And then the guy like call me into the office. No, it was a while after that. Whatever. I had a homie that was using my discount.
Oh,
and just they thought I was in business doing reselling with him and all that nonsense. So they clipped me. And man, I was so sad because I remember telling my mom, I was like, yo, I figured it out. I'm gonna do this, Nike that. I hid the fact that I got fired for like 2-3 weeks. I would get dressed in my and leave the house, bro, and try to figure out what to do and then come home. It was wild. It was wild. But
wait, what would you do in that time frame?
Yo, who knows, man? I don't even know. You
dressed up in Nike.
Yeah, I would put on my staff dress, whatever they call it. I'll put on my tie. Mom, I'm going to work. I'll see you at 9 or I'll see you at whatever. Or it was a short shift today. I'm back home early. Like, I don't even know what I was doing, going to hang with my homies or trying to figure out whatever, But yeah, man. Luckily, this is the way that it worked out. Working at Nike, I met this dude, man. This is my guy. I always talk about him. This guy called Chris O, right? Rest in peace. That's my brother, though. I love him to death. And he was always challenging me to think differently. He's like, I would tell him like, yo, Chris, I got fired. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And he at the time had a store called Culture Kings, and in the Design District, which was way before Design District is what it is now. And he was like, yo, Louie, why don't you come and work here with me part time? He was a big dude, big like pulse on the culture, and it was like a sneaker store. He had all the clothes before they popped off. I'm talking about like Diamond and company and Crooks and Castles, like all the dope clothes before it even popped, had all that stuff in there, trying to put people on in Miami. And he was like, yo, just bring the DJ setup and then we'll just, practice or whatever.
Damn.
Yeah, like, can you imagine on the clock? He's like, yo, if there's nobody in the store, obviously we're just, whatever. And if it gets busy, we'll put on a mix and do whatever. And then when they leave, we'll get back to DJing because he was a DJ too. And through him, I met everybody that opened the door for me in Miami, number one. But number two, he was always like, Louie, why would you want to work for this company when you could work with this company? He's like, if you do your thing and you get big enough and get dope enough, then they're going to come and want to work with you, bro. Like, and I was looking at him like, you are crazy.
Especially back then, even that wasn't that long ago, but
Yeah. I was like, yo, you're nuts.
social media wasn't like what it is
At
now.
all. You know, I thought it was just impossible. You know what I mean? But yeah, he had the vision, and you know, I was like, yo, I don't know what you're talking about. This isn't a real thing. But I realize now, obviously getting fired was a blessing, because I would have been, you know, I don't know. I don't want to say, who knows?
Right.
But there's a lot of projects that I've worked on since then. A lot of moments, big projects that I've worked on, like, you know, doing Jordan videos or Nike videos, like, you know, those projects and the things that ended up falling on my table down the line, that I'm like, if I was working internal with the company, I would only be able to be like, at the most, like, hey, let's hire this guy or let's give them a budget.
Yeah.
I would never have the creative freedom to do what it is that I'm actually doing now, you know? So
That's crazy.
nah,
Full circle.
for sure. Yeah, no,
You
that's for
ended up
sure.
because you did campaigns for Nike, right?
Yeah, I did a couple. I mean, I've worked with them. I worked with them directly, but initially I was working, you know, for clients who would get budgets. They would get promotional budgets, and they say, because what Nike would do is say, hey, you know your market better than we do, so we're gonna maybe give you some money towards, you know, promo, and you guys create, you know, either stuff in the community, whether it be events or, you know, content or whatever that will help push the brand, because you guys are in that, you know, in that space, so you know it best. So there would be a lot of times when I would actually like work on projects, and then I would have to send it back, and then this person would have to approve, and that person would have to approve, and then they'd be like, all right, cool, you can do this, you know. But, and this is a key too, because a lot of times if Nike's not directly involved, you can get away with a lot more stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of the time, this is so crazy, but a lot of times I would like listen to songs that are popping right now, and I'd be like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna just make my own little remix to this, which we would never be able to do. Nike would never be able to do, because they would have to pay royalties and do whatever.
Right.
And I would just like, I'm gonna make this beat or use this artist and put them on this as a part of the commercial, and then put it out.
Oh, you good?
Oh, is it me? No, it wasn't me.
Damn.
Yeah, thank God. That's my
Daniel. Nah, it's all good.
yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, that worked out. It was dope, you know.
Nah, and that's crazy because, like, it's hard to believe that you can work on things that you like and also combine them with like things that you love, like Nike and shoes, and like it's hard to kind of believe that and manifest that. But it's like you said, like if your shit is dope, or like your homie said, is your shit is dope enough, and you build it, like, you know, people will come knocking. And that's something we keep saying, that like, yeah, we can go and try to do this with this person, or we could just fucking do it and then see, you know, what happens
What
after.
comes back? Yep.
And yeah, bro, that's super, super sick. There he is. But yeah, like, how do you kind of manage that? You know, I mean, obviously with Nike, that's something you're passionate about, but like maybe you do get some client work that maybe you're not as passionate about, or maybe the creativity aspect isn't there, where like you could just go crazy and do like what your brain's thinking with like, okay, but I kind of have to like monetize this somehow because this is what I'm doing.
Right.
Like, how do you balance that? Like working on the shit that you want to work on versus like, I got to pay the bills.
I'm really still working on that every day. Still, I'm talking to like some of my younger DJ homies who kind of like are just in the same boat that we're in. We do a lot of stuff, and so they get a lot of client work, and they're still working on their own stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, when you start out, you're like just so happy to be able to pick up this camera or work on these graphics and get paid for it, right? Because you would do it for free, or you were at some point. And so you just say yes to almost everything. You're like, do I even have the time? Oh, Not really, but I'll figure it out. And you're saying yes to it to get it done. And it's a tricky thing, bro, because that is where burnout comes from. And I spent, it wasn't last year, but the year before, I spent the majority of that year just completely burnt out. And it's funny because I know that I've been burnt out before that. I just didn't know that's what it was. You know what I mean? So being able to identify that and now knowing like, oh man, this is the mistakes that I made. This is what led me to, you know, get to that point. And oof, that's a crazy one.
Yeah, I think burnout's like inevitable. Like if you're doing something that you're passionate about, but there is a point where you're just pushing like for no reason.
Right.
Like you're not managing your time, right? Because there's just, you don't know what the priority is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, I'm just trying to figure that out too.
I think like it's just hard to explain that. Like, I think it's something, this is one of those things that you just have to go through. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that I can give anybody enough advice to prepare them for, you know, how to like avoid it or whatever. Cause you almost gotta like push yourself to the limit to understand. You know what I mean?
To figure out, oh, this is burnout.
This is it. Yeah. Oh, I'm here now.
Because if you don't hit it, then it's like, what are you doing?
Exactly. And I gotta say that really though, for me, I think like, well, this is how it happened, bro. I hit burnout with DJing way before I hit burnout with videography and graphics and stuff. And so when I started to actually monetize my, you know, all the visual art stuff consistently, the first thing I told myself is that I'm not going to allow myself to get burnt out the way that I did with DJing. That was the number one rule, bro. I was like, you already know what this is like. Don't let this like cherish this one, like protect this one. And then 2020 hit, right? And then DJing was not a thing.
Right.
We're all like streaming and doing whatever. And, you know, client work picked up for videography, for graphics. Everybody was trying to show them how this restaurant is, you know, doing things safely, you know, with COVID restrictions, and how, you know, this is happening, whatever. So, and they want you to be able to tell that story through video. So I picked up my video work, my graphic work started to, you know, really flourish during that time. And then I hit burnout with that, and that sucked. And yeah, so, but I gotta be honest, man, you know, it was a really long time before it happened for visual arts, because I realized I was really passionate about my client, bro. It wasn't so much about the work. It was exciting to be able to work with brands that I liked and that I cared about, but I really was very passionate about my client. Shoe gallery is very, 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 very dear to me. You know what I'm saying? Like middle school, I would go there and shop, and that's when I heard about them. And then my mom, I would go, and we didn't have much budget, and she'd be like, okay, we're gonna spend, you know, back to school shopping. I'm like, shoe gallery first, whatever else, you know, we'll go anywhere else. JCPenney, I don't care. And Danny, the owner, was always very just very nice to us, you know what I mean? And he really cared. You felt it, you know what I mean? And like, I mean, Busta Rhymes would walk in there and he would treat Busta a certain way, and I would walk in with my mom and he would treat me and my mom the same way. And it was always a thing. And so when I got the opportunity to be able to work with them and, you know, to create content or whatever, it really just stopped being about the product and being about me wanting to do a really, really good job for them. And so there were projects that they would come be like, yo, Louie, you don't really got to take this, but if you want, you know, we need something. I'm like, yeah, like, let me, you know, I got it. Like, let me do it and do whatever. And so it wasn't until like way, way late that I was like, oh man, I'm doing like 4 or 5 visual projects a week, and I still have 3-4 gigs. Like this is, and it was a lot, and turnarounds and deadlines for these things like that doesn't, you know.
Yeah.
it's not this, you know, that you got to deliver.
Yeah.
You know, the product comes out this day, so they got to have, you know, enough time to
It's a
promote
timeline.
it. It's a real timeline, very rigid, you know. It's not like when you're putting out your own mix where you get to like be a little bit more flexible with yourself. So yeah.
And how did that come about, the shoe gallery thing? Was it like kind of still pursuing that, like, all right, I'm gonna like be in the mix of these things that I like the shoe culture and Nike and putting out my stuff? Or
Well, so that was the way that this worked out. I mean, I picked up my camera and I was just shooting a bunch of stuff.
you were doing it anyways?
Yeah, I was doing it anyway. I was hanging out with my homies. We were doing this. We would just go out on photo trips and I would shoot video and it was like documenting, you know, like creating content at the time. It was just documenting. Just, you know, you're going out and whatever. I'm bringing my camera. I just have my camera here and I'm just shooting stuff, cool stuff. And then I was in the studio with my friend making music and I would just bring my camera and then we would go on a snack run and I would document that and funny stuff would happen and, you know, little stuff like that. We would go to the fair and I'd bring my camera and, you know, get cool footage or whatever. And one of my homegirls who I've known for like years and years and years, I kind of introduced her to the sneaker culture stuff. And she was like, oh, you know, I want to do this. I'm going to do sneaker stuff. I want to like kind of maybe start a blog or do whatever. And so I just started kind of organically just creating content for her. And it was always the plan. I was like, yo, like one day we're going to do one of these videos and I'm going to see if I can get like just shoe gallery just to see the work, you know, and then know that I do this. One of my friends was one of their in-house photographers already, right? Shout out to Atlas One. And so I sent him a video and I was like, yo, I finally got a video that I feel comfortable with. Like, you know, just show Danny or show them that I do, you know, stuff whenever they need me. If they want, like, you know, hit me up. And that it so happened that shoe came out a couple weeks before in the UK and my homegirl got a plug for that shoe. So when she got it and we shot it, Shoe Gallery like had that shoe in line to come out like the next week or something. And they were like, yo, can we use this video?
Timing.
Yeah, timing, bro. And I was like, for real? Like, this is just an example. They were like, yo, if it's cool with you, we can use the video. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so that's how that started. You know, he called me in for a meeting ASAP and was like, yo, you're cool with this, whatever. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, all right, any other projects like, you know, you want to work on or that, you know? And I was like, yo. And I remember I told him, I was like, you know, the DJ thing is kind of, I'm pretty busy with that. So I can't take a bunch of projects, but, you know, I'm down to work on the special ones. You know, I'll do like cool stuff. And he was like, all right, cool. Yeah, no problem. You know, we'll just know, you know, we'll reach out. And then it started with like, you know, Off-White stuff, like Heyday when Virgil and Nike had started their collab. And I was like, yo, I'm working on all the best projects. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And then I was just so excited. Like it became from one project like a month to like one project every 2 weeks to like 2 projects every month to like, yo, every week. At the time, stuff was just coming out and it was all dope. And he's like, yo, you have that? And I was like, yep. And then it just became that more and more and more.
And that's interesting because we were just talking about earlier, like putting yourself out there, showing it, but like you made this shit for the Shoe Gallery, not intentionally.
Not even
And you were like, yo, you send it right away.
Yep.
That's interesting how like for that, it was like, yeah, like I'm going to show this.
It was crazy. Yo, and you know what? And let's big picture for a second. I think if we did that more often.
Exactly. That's my point. That like you just shooting shit and making cool stuff because you want to, and like you're not thinking about the end result. You're thinking about like, I'm with my homies. I love this shoe. I love Nike. I want to like implement my edits that I made to like have the full creativity part of my music. And then you put it together, and then you're like, fuck, that's dope. Yeah. Because you weren't thinking of like at all trying to get to this point. Right. And then you just send it.
Yeah, but see, this is what I'm saying. I'm thinking. This is right now just an intrusive thought, but I'm thinking if we maybe created, I don't want to say like specifically with this intention, but if we created knowing that there is a chance that this could open a door, you know, I think that we'd probably get closer to,
for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Even another example. I mean, we were like messing around about it, but like I drink LaCroix or LaCroix. Well, I still don't know how to say it, but I drink it like every single day. And we were streaming the other day, and I'm I'm like, yo, I'm gonna drink this regardless. Like, and I started kind of like, you know, making a joke, but like, I'm always drinking one. Like, we can make content out of it, and then who knows, man? Maybe we do a collab can. Who knows? Like with Adrian's design or whatever. But it's like, why not? Like, if you're really not like making it on purpose, but on purpose. You never know. I mean, it happened to you.
This is in the time that we're in right now, especially like the power of social media. And that's a whole thing. So I'm very intentional now. I try to think about it. Like the glasses I'm wearing right now, this is a company that I purchase from all the time. Right?
What's the company?
I Buy Direct.
I Buy Direct.
I swear by I Buy Direct, right?
I'm the same, dude.
Okay. So they're doing this affiliate program or whatever. And me and my homegirl, we do the car talk thing.
Yeah.
And so we're like, you know, we're always like feeding through what we want to try to work on, or like sponsorships, but everybody's doing the affiliate program thing now. It's like, oh, we give you a discount code and whatever, but we don't want to do that. So I'm like, that's cool. I mean, I would wear the glasses anyway, but I'm going to be intentional about this and know that at some point they may look, or they may find me and see like, oh, and then something's going to come out of it. If it doesn't happen, then whatever, it doesn't matter, you know, but another company might reach out and then they're like, hey, listen, this and that, et cetera, we'll give you these glasses, or we have this and we want to pay you to create content and do whatever. And at which point I will have created an opportunity for myself either way, you know? So I Buy Direct needs to stop slipping, but you know, it just is what it is. Like, I think that now with the power of social media, like you just really never know, bro.
No, for sure. And it's something that like you align with and you really genuinely like. So it's not like you're doing it like, oh, I'm not selling now. Yeah, let me see what would like actually grab attention. No, it's like you fuck with these glasses. So like, why not? You know, it makes sense. And we're doing creative things. We're creating content. Like you never know.
Right.
Actually, this is yesglasses.com.
Oh, so I've seen Yes Glasses, dog. I've seen them.
I'm back and forth. Whichever one wants to drop the bag.
Exactly. I haven't used them yet. I haven't tried them yet.
Yeah. They have. I mean, they're both great. But yeah, man, that's cool. And you just mentioned the thing you did with your homegirl with the Mazda, right? Like that's another thing that was kind of, you were gonna do it anyways.
No, we were doing. We did like, I think I want to say 2 or 3 just episodes of just the car talk thing, and then a friend of hers, because you know that influencer world is a whole different world,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like we create content, but influencer world is like a whole other thing. So one of her influencer homegirls was like, "Oh, you guys do this thing in the car. I have this person that reaches out to me about car stuff. Like, I'm gonna just connect you guys. I'll just send them the video clip and see." And then they were like, "Yep, let's do it. Mazda first." And we did one video. We were like, "Okay, cool. Like, this is cool. It's gonna open a door." And then it wasn't like, oh, a great deal or anything like that. But we were gonna make the video anyway, and now Mazda gave us a car. You know, so we did it. And then they were like, "Yeah, this is dope. Can you do another one?" And we were like, "Okay, now we gotta, you know."
Right.
But out of that, you know, it's been a really dope sponsorship.
But even then, you said like, I think the word influencer is like kind of changed and means things.
It's so weird.
But I think now there's this kind of space where like, at least my opinion, where like people like us that kind of aren't like really trying to be influencers, but we just are into so many things where like, I feel like an influencer a couple years ago was someone who had a vast audience and followers. So they would parlay that and leverage that for brand deals, whatever that is. But I feel like I wouldn't call it influencers. It's just like people that have many interests, but like they also do a certain thing. So it's like multi-layered interests that like kind of overlap that make you interesting. Like there's literally nobody like you because you're into, I mean, there is people that are into shoes and but like, you know, you're a DJ, you're into shoes, you did this thing with your girl about sneakers, you kind of intertwined everything, and then someone saw that and was like, yo, that's dope. No one's there's not an influencer just like, I'm gonna go do that. The business comes to them and it's like, hey, can you like post you wearing the shoe? Right. But like we're kind of in a space where the creative is like we're gonna go shoot shit and we're gonna make shit, cool shit. So like you want to attach something that I already enjoy. So I think it's like an interesting kind of, not a shift, but like there's opportunity.
Yeah, there's super, it really is. Which so ridiculous.
Even like how we were saying, you never know. You make something and maybe that brand sees it or somebody sees it that lays an opportunity. But even literally on Instagram, like you can like shoot your shot and like put collaboration with whoever, and they might see it and might be like, bro, that's dope.
This is dope. Boom.
Like accept
It's
right away.
It's really kind of wild. Like I know a lot of us were very upset when Instagram started to make these weird changes because nobody likes change. They're like, oh man, this is starting.
Yeah.
Why are they doing this and why are they doing that? But if you think about it, a lot of these changes have really come to like kind of like level the playing field, you know? Because if somebody who has 100,000 followers that I know genuinely, just one of my homegirls or something that has 100,000 followers, just reposts my video and I'm only at 8K, but like, who knows how many people are going to see just because she reposted it.
Right.
You know, they're going to click through and it really works that way. You know, it works that way a lot. You know, somebody clicks through and they're like, oh, what is this? This is cool. And then they write a comment. And now somebody with 300,000 followers wrote a comment on your thing just because, you know, you guys were having an interesting conversation. Yeah, man, it's a really interesting time with it. It's a real love-hate for me. Yeah. But I can't lie that, like, you know, it definitely created opportunity and you know, for me. And yeah.
I mean, even now, like the way the algorithm changed, it's kind of rewarding creatives because it's like, who's just making cool shit because they're trying to shoot that to the top. You could start your Instagram tomorw and post a dope ass reel and then because I think they also saw that like they were giving too much power to people with a lot of followers. Where it's like, oh, I mean, like I don't really need to do certain things because
you know, the thing is like it's really kind of weird, dog, because I really don't rock with, and I don't know, because who knows? It's like they're controlling this thing.
Right, that too.
And we get the information at some point, but it's all information that they want us to know. So they're telling you, yo, post 3 or 4 videos a week. maybe do 6 videos. Yo, post 2-3 videos a day. Like, we're really gonna like nudge your stuff to the front page. But you're creating at this rate that's like ridiculous. It's like, you can't do this. And like, yo, I can't do it. I can't create at this high quality level like this consistently for what you want. And quality is so much more important to me. Yeah. So you're going to get these things few and far between. And so now you're telling me, oh, but you're shooting yourself in the leg, bro, because, you know, your numbers aren't going to go up. We're not going to put you in front of so many people because you're not creating so consistently. So you want me to now, this is the thing. You want me to make a clip that's 3 seconds so that people get tricked into watching it a million times, right? So that the algorithm is thinking that people are rewatching my video. It's all fine. It's all good. I don't knock any of that stuff, but it's wild because now I have to create under these
parameters.
Exactly. Because you're telling me that this is how I'm going to get, you know.
Yeah.
When in the end, they're winning because they're keeping people on their platform for as long as possible. And they're just reaping benefits with advertisement and they're kicking you back like a fraction of if you even get it. Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. I mean,
it's definitely a tool to help, but I think it really comes down to like what you were saying earlier. Like, doesn't a thousand, a million people don't have to see it, but if the right people see it, or even your friends that are like, they're gonna vouch for you. Yes. So then like now they have something to show somebody they know. Right. And it's more of like it's the actual word of mouth. Right. So I think it's like, and I like, you know, I love Gary Vee, but like 4 times a day if you're serious and 30 times a week because you know you gotta shoot shots and they're all not gonna be top notch Hollywood production. But I think it's more of, at least for me, and like kind of what you're saying, like if you're comfortable with doing 1 a month or 1 a week, but it's like to your standard personally, and that's like the pace you're at, then that's what it is. Because that's going to allow you to actually do it instead of like trying to keep up with everyone. And then you're like, fuck it, I'm not even going to post shit. Yeah. Which is like what I did a lot of.
It's real. It's real. I know. See, that's the thing is like the pressure of all that will put me in a space where I'm like, well, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm not going to post anything. You know, but that's not the way to do it either, you know?
And I think also coming from like DJing, which I thought about it later after, I was so like plugged into DJing and like the game of DJing that I was like, I gotta post 3 times a week. I gotta do the one from the club, then the one of my mix, then like the one with the homie, then and I was like making an own schedule of like my DJ life that wasn't even like real.
I know.
But it became so normal. And then I think about it and I'm like, bro, like people didn't have, I mean, now more people have like their own schedule for them, like what themselves for social media. But like normal person wasn't out there like I need to post 3 times a week and did it. So it was like so normal to me that it almost became like desensitized to Instagram of like, yo, I'm just posting like
that's it.
A dumb pic that nobody like. How's you posting a picture? I'm not trying to knock
Not
anyone,
at all,
but like I'm knocking myself. Like,
sure.
Hey, I'm DJing here. Like you're not gonna come see me,
right? I mean, you might not,
but
it's not gonna.
But it's more of now switching the lens of like, yo, I'm showing you this not because like I'm trying to flex. Like I enjoy DJing this party, and I'm gonna like explain to you like why, like you know, give you a story.
Absolutely.
Where before it was just like post, like I gotta keep up, I gotta keep up, I gotta keep up.
It's intention. It's perspective.
And I think the algorithm kind of reflects that now, where it's like you don't really gotta keep up, man. You just gotta make sure it's like authentic and dope. Like that's what I'm going for now, whatever that is. Like I sometimes I'm like I don't even know what the fuck.
Right. No, it's true. But I mean, it's ultimately, I think it's like back to understanding and knowing yourself, right? Like what feels right, and then doing that instead of like, oh, but this is what they say is gonna.
I think that's all out the window. Like I think even what you were saying, like they have suggestions and they're giving you numbers, but who really knows, bro?
Right.
Like, even
it's true.
Even something that might not get any views or likes could just be the one thing that gets you an opportunity.
Period, bro.
So like that's how I'm looking at things now. Of like, do I want to post this because whatever reason? But like I don't care like if it pops off or not. Like, because like you said, I can do those hacks and like get people to my page, but then what? Like the 3-second video is not gonna like prove or showcase like your ability. It's just like it's an advertisement.
It is
a form of an advertisement. So it's like, I mean, I think it's cool to have that in there if you have the time, but like, you know, it's hard. I mean, I was gonna ask you, I don't know, like you're like a one-man group, you know. I love when people say group and they're one. That's my favorite shit.
Yo,
I fuck with that.
I'm gonna tell you that. So I want to say that I have, I'm a one man. It's true, but I
like I'm trying
to like find a way to.
You're the Murphy group. Where the fuck's the group? Yeah, it's just you.
No, I want to say. I mean, listen. At any the way that I see it is that I have people. You know, I don't want to say to my disposal, but I have like resources, and I think what is valuable is that I have this communication ability to, like, you could walk up to a graphic designer and say, hey, I want to make this, and et cetera, et cetera. But, and then it's going to take you guys 4 or 5 back and forths to get it right. Where I think that I have the ability to communicate it, like, you know, I'm going to get closer to that. So sometimes it's all me, but sometimes I have a client that might reach out to me and say, hey, this is what I want to do. And I'm going to be like, okay, I'm not going to keep this in house to get you where you want to go. I'm going to have this person involved and this person involved, and that's going to get you closer to here. So that's the group for me. That's my group.
No. And I 100% understand what you're saying. And why I ask is for that reason, because I think sometimes we think we got to do it all, but you know, there is people that can help you along the way. And something that which I'm glad you said that like, it took me a while to realize that that's an actual skill. Like, cause you can go to, like, I can go to a graphic designer and then somebody off the street can go to a graphic designer, and the process is going to be completely different. And for me, I'm thinking like, oh, I'm kind of just like hiring this person and telling them what to do and then leaving it up to them. But no, it's like a collaboration. And the way the client tells me or someone tells me what they want is different than how I'm going to tell this person. Also because I know the person.
There you go.
And we're gonna get it done quick and dope. Also because I'm realizing, I can't do this to like that extreme. So like this person's got to take it there, like you said. But for a long time, I'm just thinking, I'm outsourcing. I'm outsourcing.
Right.
And
Middleman.
like, I'm losing money or I'm pigeoning it off. But like, and that's actually worth something.
It is.
But you don't think it is.
You don't.
Because you're like, this guy's doing it.
And you're so used to being like hands-on.
And you almost feel bad because it's also like another creative. So you're like, no, I don't want to take like, nah, bro, like whatever you want. I'll just get it. Which, most of the time it is that. But if it's a bigger project overall, then everyone kind of gets, according to what they're doing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think like letting go of that is hard for sure.
I'm still struggling with that. I still struggle with it.
And it's like that double-edged sword of like, fuck, I want to help this person, like give them work and then also be able to do the work. But then I think that I can do it better. And it's just kind of like your ego saying like, I can do all this shit. I just don't got time.
Yep.
But I'm glad the way you just said it made me actually right now, like, I'm fucking providing a service.
1,000%.
That like, number one, that person would have not got that job because that's just not their relationship.
Come on.
So like,
Number one.
it's business. And then at the end of the day, you're actually helping them because now I'm giving you the data and like letting you know, like this is how we got to do it. And you don't got to deal with the whole client or approval or this or that. It's more like the homie, like, how do we get this done? So damn, that was a good way of saying it.
It's real. It's so real, bro.
That communication is like a whole skill.
It's an entire thing. It really is.
Because I'm always of the thinking that like anyone can just say, hey, I want this logo.
No chance.
But like I can tell the designer, look, let's do the logo like this because I think blah blah blah, and then they're trying to do this, and then also they're gonna put it here, and then like they're gonna do a camp blah blah blah. And some people are just like sick, like really good doers. Like, all right, bet I'm on it.
Say less, yep, and I'm just gonna go.
That's when like you kind of gotta navigate those waters of like, all right, I know I'm a group, but like, I need some help.
It's real. And I mean, that's my probably like my Achilles heel for real is being able to hire a team, like growing a team. Like, bro, I can't. It's gonna be a problem. Like, I can't scale because I just don't know how to.
That's another. I like love talking about this because there's always the idea of like scaling. Like, I could be XYZ if I, you're not copy pasting, but you're building the group and the foundation to like do more and do bigger. But there is also an argument of like, if it's just you and like you love what the projects you're working on, you're not going to be able to do 1 million more, but you're doing the ones you like, which in result will get you better work because you're not doing 1 million. And then what happens is that like I've kind of experienced a little is that if you scale too much, then you're just managing.
Oh
people.
Yeah.
And I'm not good at
right.
that.
No, that's real. Yeah.
Someone will do a terrible job and I'll just let it ride till they tell me like, yo, you gonna fire me or you gonna like.
That's crazy. That's hilarious.
Yeah, bro. But
that's funny.
But then I know people that are literally for real one-man company. And bro, they make great money.
Yeah.
And of course they could make like 5-10x more, but that comes with headaches and like stress and like now you're managing.
I never really thought about it like
personalities, not just like work. Like you're working with other people that have lives and like families and like problems and like I just like being by myself and like, but there is a time where I think you need help. Like you can't do everything. So I think it's like figuring out that fine line for whatever it is you're doing. But when you're like, because obviously we're talking about DJing and your video stuff and this and that, how do you kind of like compartmentalize your brain? Because I have trouble doing that sometimes where like I'm on this mode, but then I need to be on this mode, but then I'm like still lingering in this mode and like your wires cross. I'm
trying to, I mean, these are questions I asked myself yesterday, this day before yesterday. I don't know, man. That's a really, really tough one, bro. The truth is that right now, this is understanding the value of saying no to stuff for that reason more than anything else, to be honest with you. Because I understand how emotionally involved I get into each project. And if I say yes to this project that I don't feel that great about, and now I'm on this, when I accept it, if the project starts to not go the way that I envisioned it going and I need to spend more time on it, and now we're getting closer to the weekend when I have to DJ, I walk into that gig in this other state of mind, which is now doing a disservice to my DJ gig. And then it just continues like this and like this and like this. And that sucks. That shit sucks, bro.
Yeah, I've been there. I think that's part of the reason why I had to like dial back the DJing, because I had to be like realistic, like, because you think like, oh, I'm just going out on the weekend and playing music after like I'm not gonna really be doing any type of work at that time. But bro, your bandwidth is just taken up. So like you start to see it like bleed and everything else. So it's like, you know, you gotta, if you really want to do everything you want to do, like you can't be 100 at everything, and that's okay. Yeah.
You gotta find peace in that.
I think that's what like people sometimes, and I'm speaking for myself, that like you think, damn, if I'm not like 1,000% in this one thing, then how am I gonna? But it goes back to what we were saying, that I can't be, bro. I have to be like, 1 week I'll be 100% this, and then like 10% that, and then 1 week I'll be 50-50, but it's okay because they're like separate things. Or like 1 week I'm super focused on this, and then I'll get to finish that other thing after I like get rid of this. Or so it's just kind of like not being so hard on myself.
Really got to be nice to yourself.
Literally, that's what it is, because you're the one creating the pressure. Right. It's not really like a thing. I mean, sometimes it is, but
nah, I mean, a lot of times it is self-invoked. For
sure.
Man, I'm really bad at time management as well. So I want to tell you that if I could really block my time in properly, that I would be more efficient. But I want to also tell you that if I did that, a lot of times some of the best work would not come out. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes it's that 16th hour, just like that extra push. You know what I mean? Sometimes you hit that, this is for me. Sometimes I hit that sleep deprived. You know what I'm saying?
Like a second wind that you think you're going to be like dead, but then like you're like, fuck.
You're like, yo, and then it just clicks, bro. And it just clicks. And so I've had to understand that about myself and my creative process, and really try to be nice to myself within that space. And, you know, I'm blessed enough to be able to like make my own schedule, sort of, you know what I mean? So this is what it is to be me. And that's how I did. That's where I'm at with it. You know, I'm trying to find peace in that, and like know that, you know, I got this project, you know, and I might not, you know, yo, it's my project. Yo, this week it's not gonna happen, bro. You know, telling whoever it is I'm working with, yo, it's not gonna happen this week, but we're gonna have a banger next week, though. You know what I mean? I promise you, it's gonna be next level it's gonna be worth it. You know?
I think I've been trying to train myself to do something like, all right, this week is just not gonna happen, or today is just not gonna happen. But it doesn't mean that like you ain't crushing it all the other days. Like it's like a more macro. Like, bro, you're fucking working hard. Just today you fucking went over 10. Like bad game. But like your season is pretty solid. Like you might make playoffs. Right. So like I try to remind myself like, all right, man, like missing not a deadline maybe, but even a deadline or not getting something done that you said you were gonna get done in that time, like it's okay, but get it done. Right. So like I think,
yo, I mean, I go through this, man. I beat myself up so much over stuff like that, dog. You know, like I have this vision for how I see it and how it needs to come together. It'll be genius if it happens like this within this time. And then it's just like, yo, sometimes it's just not in God's plan, bro.
Yeah.
It's just not, and for a good reason, you know. Like, the only thing that I can say is I've been really good about recognizing that before I beat myself up too much. So sometimes like it snaps and I'm like, yo, you know what? I think this has potential to be bigger than you know what I had planned. So if I try to fit it all in within this time period, I'm not gonna really have the chance to be able to service all of the things in that project the way that they need to be. I'm trying not to give too many details.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what's going on.
And it's crazy because if you think of it like that, once you deliver, they're not even gonna remember that like
Period,
anything.
bro.
They're gonna be like, "What? This is fucking sick."
They don't know anything.
But in the time you're thinking about it, you're like, "Yeah, but it's due tomorrow."
Yeah, exactly.
But it's crazy. Like it's like I try to picture myself on the other side of the screen or phone or whatever.
right
Like they're not thinking like I'm thinking
at all.
They're just like waiting for the email.
That's it. Literally,
And then
literally.
And they'll watch it. Doesn't matter if it's 1 day, 2 hours, whatever. Like
Right.
But I think that's just internally, like we're thinking like creative. So we're like, like if they don't get it now, they're gonna think that like I suck.
Right.
Like it's not. It's the product.
It doesn't work that way. Yeah. And that's another thing. That's another reason. Like with really great communication, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're dealing with clients, there's been many times. Obviously, you know that life happens. There's been many times where I may not be able to make a deadline or something, but being able to communicate in a way that's like, hey, listen, this took me a little bit longer, or this is what's going on, but I'm going to deliver this. And this is the reason why. Yo, literally 90% of the time, the clients are like, yo, cool. Like, I'm cool with it, you know? There have been times when I've been able to say, hey, I know we had plans to post by this date, but yo, this I can talk about this. This just happened. So I did this partnership with Monkey Shoulder Whiskey, and man, there was so many approvals that had to happen before like any movements, right? Which is fine, legal team, all that stuff. And so by the time I got the approval to post the thing, it was like F1 weekend, and my Wi-Fi sucks. So, and I'm like, listen, guys, we spent this amount of time, this amount of energy into creating this video. If I post it like on anything less than like good Wi-Fi, we're risking the chance of blowing the quality on the thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I know we got to make this deadline. We got to hit this deadline and everything, but is it worth that? You know, I think that we should wait until this day. And they were like, yo, you know what? Yeah, let's just wait. It's cool. You're right. Let's just wait, you know? That's really not how it happened. We tried to do it. We posted it and it came out terrible.
That's how it would be.
Yeah, and then I had to delete it and be like, yo, this was going on. They were like, okay, yeah, let's not let that happen again.
But you also realize sometimes people are just like, they have their own pressure on themselves. So they're like doing their job and they're just like, yo, like we got to do it. But it's because there's someone else.
Yeah, of course.
But they don't really care.
No, they don't.
They're just like want to make sure they check off their box. But it's not really important.
Right. No, I mean, it's, you know, it's different too, man. That's the thing is, you know, oftentimes it might be me, because I think in that instance, I was being more like picky and hands-on about wanting to get the best quality, when they were like, hey, it's cool. You know, you'll post it. It'll be fine. The information will be out there and it'll be cool. And I was like, yo, like we're working on this together. And I really want it to come out the way that it's the way that it's supposed to.
Because you care too.
Because I care. So I'm like, can we wait? And they were like, cool, go ahead. It's fine. It's all good, you know? So, you know, but I was able to communicate the reason why, you know, tell them like, you know.
Instead of just being like, nah, we can't do it right
now.
now.
We can't do it. Yes. Oh, no, terrible.
Have you ever like not had to, but either wanted to or had to back out of something that you were like, oh, this is not what I signed up for? Or you were in too deep already, you couldn't? Oof.
Yeah, man, that happens a lot. There, but you know what? And this is a friend of mine who told me it's my word is more important to me than anything else. So I'm just gonna try to make the best out of a crummy situation and deliver despite how I feel about it or whatever. In my opinion, I think like that's a part of being professional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm consider myself a professional, it's like, all right, cool. I told you I was going to do this, and I might deliver it and then give you a little paragraph after, like
Backhanded.
I might do it, but I'm gonna knock it out still, and that way you
Yeah.
can see like, yo, you know, he made some valid points, and this is kind of really wasn't in the best, you know, but
Yeah.
look, the product is great, you know, and I find pride in being able to do that, you know.
No,
So,
100%. And then
yeah.
you just also you just know after, like, okay, we're probably not gonna, like, I'm not
Working
accepting
again.
anything
Yeah,
else.
No, definitely not. Yeah. Oh man, bro.
Tell me.
I'm not gonna tell you the client is. I'm very big on like, yo, there's a lot of people who will like burn a bridge.
Oh no. Tell me the story.
Yeah, no. I'm really, because yo, my biggest fear is, you know how people move, you know how things happen.
Yeah.
So my biggest fear is in 3 years now I'm in this position where I'm working with this brand or with this club or whatever.
And they heard something.
Not even the guy that used to work over here is now the one.
Yeah.
That's my big. But there's this one company, bro, that reached out to me like, yo, this that you posted is we want to do a series of these. We want you to do 15 videos for us, bro. We want you to do 15 videos. It's got to happen in like 2 months worth, but we're going to send you all the products. We're going to do all this stuff. And this is what we want. We want you to do what you did here and do it like this for 3 of these hats. Yo, the whole layout, right? And I'm like, oh my God, it's a lot of work. But I'm like, you know what? Cool. Like they're rocking with me. That's fine. And I break the whole thing down. I'm like, this is what it's going to cost. And based on the timeline you guys have, I'm going to have to charge you, you know, for expedited stuff because I'm moving you guys up in the priority list of all the projects I'm working on. Broke it all down, whatever. And, you know, they took the stuff and they were looking at it. I hope this guy sees this. And so he's looking at it, whatever, and came back to me and they're like, all right, cool. Well, how about this? And then proceeded to like a la carte all this stuff and be like, we're going to do all this stuff in-house so you can get rid of this price and maybe you can give us a better rate for this now and blah, blah, blah. Just like, but really in a very like, already like you work for us. Like you're not working with us. You work for us type. And that it rubbed me the wrong way so bad. Like that was the first and only time I've had to be like, you know what? Nah. And it even because at one point it was like, okay, well, if you're not cool with that, that's fine. Let's go back and we'll see. And I was like, it's done. It's done. It's done. No, seriously, bro. Because you don't.
That took time to even put together.
So much time and energy, bro. It took a lot of time and energy to put that together. You know, and my thing was that I already know what it's gonna be like to work with you once we sign on. So what, you gonna send a deposit over and now
they own you.
Now you owe me, which is literally what I was gonna say. No chance, bro. And I'm so glad I avoided that. And I realized, you know, because peace of mind is worth so much, bro.
Why do I feel like I know maybe what company it could
be?
Man,
as soon as the cameras come off, I'm gonna tell you who it is. I don't think you do know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you.
Nah, then I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I'm leave you with this question that I ask everyone. What does creativity mean to you?
Oof. Creativity to me means it is I think like my textbook answer is like expression of emotion through art. Art is big. There's a lot of art. So but it can be, you know, any of that. That's what I think creativity is ultimately. It's kind of like you being able to manifest something that is in your mind that has either been inspired by, you know, something, whatever. It could be anything. It could be a movie, could be whatever else, a relationship, something. I believe that it get inspired and then it becomes this manifestation of what you're feeling. That's what I think creativity is ultimately. It's tough when we have to be creative. You know what I mean? You almost have to dig deep and find, but ultimately, because for me, a lot of times it's like finding that inspiration when I see a product or I see a project or I'm wanting to create something, I go and I'm looking for that inspiration. And even then, that inspiration makes me feel something. And now I'm in the place of being able to manifest that thing. So, yeah.
Bars.
Is that heavy? Is that heavy?
I love it, bro. That's a great
I hope
explanation.
that makes sense. Yeah.
No. Well, yo, bro, I really appreciate you,
IG, thank you for
coming
having
through.
me.
It was a great conversation.
Yeah, man,
I think
good
we'll
times.
probably do it again, bro.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
And thank you, bro. If you want to plug out any of your stuff,
Yo,
feel free.
Louie Arson. Just Louie Arson.
What about the group?
I mean, yeah.
What about those guys?
Yo, it's fire. The rest. What about the rest of those guys? You know what's fire is still right now, and this might change by the time people see this, but right now, LA Ad Group is not even for hire, bro. And I live in that space. I know it's crazy. I live in that space often where if you're not a client that we've already worked, like you really can't pull me into a project. I mean, the budget got to be crazy, but that's where I'm at right now.
The power of no.
Yeah, the power of no. So like, I mean, reach out to Louie Arson, and then if you have a project and he thinks it's okay, then he may pass it off to the rest of the group. But it's Louie Arson. You know, I think it's Louie Arson on everything. Just, you know, check out my stuff, man. I don't. We started this conversation with me saying I don't want to put myself in a box, and I'm not gonna. I want to do the same thing. I want to stay box free. You know, I do this thing called the Scenic Route with my homegirl. I'm Simply B, where we just have conversations about life and sneaker stuff, because mainly she does sneaker stuff. But I like to talk about big picture things, and I got a couple content things that I do sometimes.
Being all modest.
Yeah, I mean, when I feel like it, if I'm being honest, you know. And yeah, that's it. I mean, right now I'm just really DJing and throwing parties. So pull up on me. You know, I'm working on some stuff with Craze. I think we're thinking about starting a party, and yeah, we got a meeting tomorrow. We had a couple phone calls, and I'm just trying to do cool stuff, man, that feels good to me at the moment, bro.
That's what it's all about.
Oh my
bro.
gosh. And if anybody's playing pickleball, hit me.
Oh,
So I just got into pickleball.
see, there you go.
Yeah, that's cool too. So
Yo,
yeah.
appreciate it, bro. Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
The claps.
My dog.
Hey, shout out Junior.
Junior, love you, bro.
That was fucking great, bro.
Yeah. That's fun.
That was real fun, bro.
Buddy.
No camera went off, right?
None.
What are you using?
I'm gonna turn them off now.